Daybreak Africa is your one-stop top-notch breakfast show that brings you all the interesting stories happening in and around Africa.
Because we have all the morning essentials,
including the latest news, sports, weather, and events. And of course, the people.
Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
It is the break of another dawn, and we're glad to know that you are with us on Television Nigeria. This is Daybreak Africa. Good morning and many thanks for joining us. My name is Elvis Oga.
Good morning, everyone. I hope we all slept fine. My name is Mercy Joe.
Good morning, Mercy.
Good morning, Elvis. What do you want to say?
I hold it right.
We'll talk about that later.
That's okay. All right, let's talk about what we have to talk about for the
yes,
day. A lot of news making rounds.
Extension of the gradual easing of the lockdown by 2 more weeks by the president.
That's been generating a whole lot of concern from different perspectives and different Nigerians. We've seen the main opposition party to come out to criticize who put out the information, talking about the SGF, the secretary to the government of the federation, does not have the constitutional right to give executive orders.
But they follow rules given to them by the president. However, so irrespective of how the news came out or broke out, I do not see anything there. The most important thing is that a message has been conveyed to Nigerians.
Okay, for some reasons, Nigerians are looking at it that, okay, for the main opposition party to, in a way, be able to put the ruling party on their toes regarding the governance in the country, it's quite a good one, because the constitutionality of every process needs to be followed. But like you said, what is important is
the message that has been conveyed. And
Nigerians are trying to look at it that it's not as if the SGF came out to address the nation when the president is supposed to address the nation, but it was during their normal briefing of the presidential task force that information was put out. So what we need to do now is how to get ready to see how we can actually manage the situation.
During the statements by the PTF, Boss Suleiman and all, they talked about all sectors that have been exempted from that can still move. That's government offices, bags, food business, and some few businesses. They can still go about their daily businesses. No touch on the exemptions.
I just love the breakdown of everything, and then the intent or how they attend, how they are trying to achieve the full reopening of the economy, trying to use the 2 weeks to prepare people so that we will know how to go about our normal business when the economy is fully reopened.
Yeah, because while we are still in the phase of, this is the second phase now, while we are still in the phase of the gradual easing of the lockdown, the SGF is saying that because Nigeria is not yet, I think they should put that in code, not yet ready for a full, like a total relaxation of the lockdown.
So looking at the breakdown, I was looking at how they were talking about how they were going to intensify communication of the guidelines, tracing or reporting, and then if there is a need for, maybe there is an upsurge in the epidemic or people that are being contracted with this disease.
Yeah, like rapid cases increasing, most especially in local governments.
Yeah, areas. There might be
lockdown,
total lockdown
there.
And then talking about the lockdown can still be in place and all of that.
Yes.
That's to show you that they've actually taken a survey of what's happening around the country, and that's actually informed their decision. They also talked about looking into non-pharmaceutical remedy for that, and it's actually all good.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, most Nigerians expected the president to address them yesterday. But the grey area surrounding that was actually clear. That why were people expecting the president to address the nation yesterday was probably because at the expiration of every timeline or time frame he come out to chart the way forward for the next one.
Yes.
But I know people handling the business, the president actually knows better. That's why they feel, okay, it's better that we get information from the presidential task.
The only thing I'm concerned about, and most other Nigerians will be concerned about, is the message. We have gotten the message, we have listened, and we are digesting the message. Now, people are talking about Nigerians. If we are not disciplined enough with the following of guidelines that have been provided by the PTF and federal government all around the world, we will be faced with the problem that it will be hard for us to kick off the pandemic from Nigeria.
True.
Now, people talk the lockdown that has been gradually eased in Nigeria.
Yeah.
On what ground, on what basis was even the lockdown? Just because of the economic impact.
Yes.
For other countries, we had a situation whereby they eased their lockdown gradually because they saw
dropped
drop
in cases.
They saw improvement in their cases. That was why. But Nigeria, however, has been a different case. So one would ordinarily try to start thinking, is Nigeria that capable enough? The cases are increasing, yet we are still calling for gradual easing of the lockdown.
True. You know, we were looking at it when the lockdown was gradually eased, that more like a situation of being caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, like you said.
Yes.
Yesterday we were talking about, okay, how to keep life and then livelihood. That is where it's a little bit dicey. But like you said, we've seen how we've been able to manage this as a nation.
Yeah.
Recall that the first importance of the lockdown was to trace, identify, and treat cases or people that must have made contact with those cases in the first place. So to an extent, much gains were recorded in that regard. And then we've seen how much we've been able to manage it, like I said, as a nation. So what is left now is like we adhering strictly.
Exactly, because I don't expect us to see a situation where we're still, are we still using the same modalities, the same measures, the same guidelines and expecting something different? Let it not be a situation, a scenario.
People have actually tried to look at, take it a bit further, like we were saying, we've moved away from the normal use your face mask and everything, even though they are still in place, we need to use them. But people have actually thought outside the box to see that when you're going out, make sure you have the precise amount of money you want to use to avoid or to minimize that contact with the currency, which is one way that the virus could be spread. And then when you come back, try to disinfect your shoes, pull your clothes, immediately wash them, bath, and everything. So that is to tell you that people are actually ready to see that.
Yes, and at least the government as well is also trying to see inwards of providing a solution, local solution for Nigeria. So, in light, we're still going hand in hand progressively. I think Nigeria recorded 216 new cases yesterday.
I saw that.
Total cases.
Before we actually crossed the 5,000 number, we were seeing, okay, after the first few days of the easing of the lockdown, we had what we call peak so far, over 300 cases for 2 days, and then after that it dropped to between 100 and 200. And yesterday, or for like 2 days now, we've been seeing 216. It calls for concern, and it still boils down to the conduct of Nigerians or the citizens of the country. Like we've said, we cannot afford the lockdown for long, because if we are locking down for long, our economy is suffering. And we all know how our economy was trying to recover from recession before the pandemic came. Yes. So
in the recoveries, we still have 1,644 recoveries. So it still boils down to the percentage, about 97 versus 3% for the fatality cases. So Nigeria, would you say Nigeria is still progressing? It's somehow we're still getting something right.
We're still getting something
in our country.
We've been able to maintain that.
Okay, the Chinese.
People are asking for your whereabouts.
People are asking for the whereabouts, and they're saying they shouldn't be asked that question, where the Chinese are.
When I talked about the main opposition party trying to put the ruling party on their toes by demanding some information, actually put that into consideration before I said that, because I saw from news when that surfaced actually on Sunday night, and the PDP were actually asking for the whereabouts of these Chinese people, because we know how much concern or how much dust was raised when they were about to step into the country, especially from the NMA and other bodies, talking about how constitutionally right it is for medical practitioners from other parts of the world to go into a surveillance state and then carry practices. But the federal government put out information or clear the air that they were coming to train our medical personnel on how to manage this pandemic.
Yes.
But asking for their whereabouts is not out of question. I think what is suspected now is just to provide Nigerians with their whereabouts and what they are up to in the country.
Probably Nigerians don't need to know where the whereabouts of this Chinese, but we need to understand what it is that they are doing for us now, because they came in regard that they had something to do for Nigerians to make the cases better. But then we're not seeing what they're doing, we're not seeing them, we're not hearing of them, no pictures of them anymore. So what could actually be going on? Why the silence on them? That's what Nigerians
big
are saying now.
questions begging for answers. And away from that, we have insecurity still in some part of the country. Yesterday there were reports of a Boko Haram attack in Yobe, and like we said the other day, the much that has been achieved, especially with the relocation of the commander of the chief of staff to Maiduguri, the theater of operation. We've seen how much success that has generated there. But I think that has actually made this bandit or this insurgent to shift their attention or to shift their tactics to another place. So it's just left for the security operatives or the experts to go ahead and follow them bumper to bumper, if that's an expression to use. And still in that effect, we got an alleged report of a herdsman invasion of a community in Benue State yesterday. Echori, Ito, in Obi local government precisely.
So despite this pandemic, all this insecurity is still happening one way or the other. And we still have to applaud the security operators regardless, because these are the people that are coming face to face with everything. With all the fears, the pandemic.
The guidelines for the pandemic.
Exactly.
And they are still trying to maintain peace, protect lives and properties.
Yeah, it's well.
It's well. Okay, you wanted to bring Susan in, but there's something about the oil price that actually caught my attention.
You talked about it. You said I think
rose to a 2 month high of $35 per barrel,
which was initially 24.
Yeah.
Wow. This pandemic, regardless, there are positive and negative impacts.
Yeah, you can say that. I think this is more like the effect of the easing of the lockdown, as some economies have actually been trying to ease their lockdown in a gradual process. So begin to see the gains already. And not forgetting the major role that the OPEC has actually been playing. You know, they are one body that tend to understand the demand and supply curve very much. And when they see that the prices are low, they tend to cut supply so that the demand could rise. That's exactly what happened. They cut about 9.7 million barrels per day production, and we see the effect already.
Let's take a look at the news today. So let's bring.
So maybe Susan might have
something about that for us.
Good
morning.
Good morning, Elvis.
Good morning, Susan. You look nice.
Thank you very much.
You always look nice.
Always humble and beautiful.
Elvis.
Not again, Elvis. Not today.
It's okay. So
all right. So what do you have for us today?
Yeah, of course we know about the fact that the president didn't address the nation as expected, and of course the other issues arising from the presidential task force. We also have some news concerning the naira and dollar.
Yes.
Forex in the business world, and also we have some news in the entertainment scene.
Wow.
Yeah. So we will now move on to the news desk for more details. Good morning and welcome to AM News. I am Susan Achin. The Presidential Task Force, PTF, on COVID-19 has extended the gradual easing of the lockdown by 2 weeks. The PTF Chairman and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, announced this on Monday during the briefing of the members of the task force in Abuja, the nation's capital. He said the reality is that in spite of the modest progress made, Nigeria is not yet ready for full opening of the economy and tough decisions have to be taken for the good of the greater majority. The lockdown order in Kano State, according to the SGF, has also been extended by 2 weeks. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Presidential Task Force, PTF, on COVID-19 to work closely with state governors. The President gave the directive on Monday at a virtual meeting with some members of Nigeria Governors Forum. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari disclosed that the PTF had briefed him on the next steps in the national response to the pandemic. He explained that working closely with governors would bring better harmony in the daunting task of curbing the spread of the pandemic. The Nigerian Aviation Authority has begun an investigation into the reason why an aircraft belonging to a British company was operating commercial flights into the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The aircraft, Legacy 600 with registration GPRFX, was impounded by the federal government for flouting the country's ban on airspace amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, during Presidential Task Force briefing on COVID-19 in Abuja on Monday, said the pilot of the aircraft will be subjected to 14 days of quarantine. He also disclosed that the company operating the aircraft is based in Westminster in the United Kingdom. Nigeria has recorded 216 new cases of the novel coronavirus, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirmed on Monday. In a tweet by its official handle, the NCDC said 74 new cases were found in Lagos, 33 in Katsina, 19 in Oyo, and 17 in Kano, with several other states recording new cases. The health agency also reported that 1,644 cases have now been successfully treated and discharged, while 191 persons have died. Moving on, gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram insurgents have again attacked Dapchi community in Yobe State, shooting sporadically. A Dapchi resident solely known as Garba said that the security personnel stationed in the community engaged the gunman while he was fleeing to the bush for safety. Garba, who is a mechanic, further explained that the attackers carted away food palliatives brought into the palace of the district head by State Emergency Management Agency and later set the palace ablaze. Similarly, political and traditional leaders in Benue State have been warned to wash their hands of the operation of criminal and militia groups. They have also been warned to stay clear from security operations aimed at flushing out those already identified as perpetrators of violence, lest they face the wrath of the law. These warnings form the highlights of decisions taken at the stakeholder security meeting held at the Benue State Government House on Monday, following the killing of a militia gang leader popularly known as Ojunde by troops of Operation Wellstroke at the weekend. Meanwhile, an Islamic cleric, Sheikh Yusuf Sambo Riga Chukun, has been convicted alongside his son by the Kaduna Mobile Court for violating the stay-at-home order and not wearing face masks. A statement issued on Monday by the Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of the state, Aisha Diko, revealed that the Islamic cleric and his son were arrested at Kaduna State University, Castle Junction. The Commissioner explained that the cleric and his son were both charged for not wearing face masks and were fined 5,000 naira each. The court also asked the cleric to perform community service by informing the public on how to stop the spread of coronavirus. We now move into the world of business, where the foreign exchange daily turnover at the investors and exporters forex window rose by 117.14% to $40.28 million on Monday, compared with $18.55 million. In the markets, Naira lost 0.33 kobo as the dollar was quoted at 386.33 kobo on Monday, as against 386 Naira it closed on Friday last week, data from FMDQ indicated. Earlier, the market opened with an indicative rate of 387 Naira, 10 kobo per dollar, the same rate as Friday. The foreign exchange market opened the week with Naira indicating stability across various market segments. Nigeria's currency maintains stability as traders are selling the dollar at 455 Naira, the same as it sold for on Friday at the black market. And on the entertainment scene, Nigerian celebrity couple Adekunle Gold and Simi have recently made the top 2 spots on Apple Music's top 100 Nigerian music chart. While Simi's song Duduke was on number 1, Adekunle Gold's Something Different was number 2. The excited couple took to their individual Instagram pages to acknowledge and celebrate the great feat to the delight of fans. Well, congratulations to the talented couple. And that's it on AM News. I am Susan Achin.
Wow.
Couple goals.
Why are you shaking?
Couple goals. Couple goals.
I am just getting like chills right now. You know?
You know what was running through my mind when I saw that news? What a way to copulate.
Oh my God, Elvis!
I'm sure you didn't hear that.
That's it. But it's really beautiful.
Yeah,
and to think
very,
that
very
is also
beautiful.
expecting her, to
do care.
baby. So it's a great news.
Well,
right
quite a news. Congratulations to them. The Islamic cleric in Kaduna arrested for violating stay home.
Very interesting.
Was a very, very interesting. Nobody is above the law.
That's what that is
See,
saying.
if you see, like, considering the different reactions or different ways a different government or state government are handling the lockdown,
Yes.
we know that they really know the severity of this deadly virus, and they're taking it very seriously. Still from same Kaduna State, it was alleged that a man in uniform, a military man, was also arrested, but he was said to be on official duty from Abuja to Kaduna, but he had some passengers in his car who were actually sentenced after trial by the mobile court.
Wow.
And I watched a video yesterday where somebody was talking about how serious the lockdown is in Kaduna State, that he was supposed to do his welcome back, but he can't go out to do
No, Kaduna State lockdown is really serious. I know
It's
people
very
that
serious.
have been Abuja and cannot even move to Kaduna as close.
They quarantine you immediately. You're
Yes,
coming into Kaduna.
yes.
You want to come to our
Yes.
state? No problem. We quarantine you in the quarantine
And that's not
center.
surprising, coming from the
That actually lead me into bringing into the table the issue of the impounded aircraft. The way the government is handling
Going about the
it's
investigation.
Going about
very,
the
very
investigation.
interesting, and it's very okay. Especially subjecting the pilot to 14 days
14 days
quarantine,
quarantine.
because that's been the guideline on ground.
Of course.
And like you said, nobody's above the law.
Actually, nobody's above the law. Nobody
Yes.
is above the law. Anybody coming in or out of our country, none of them is exempted from our own law.
If you look at what's happening, some experts who have actually projected what Africa need to do to better our situation and condition, it's just generally the state of things in Africa, generally even pre the pandemic and post
Of course,
the
we
pandemic,
know how
Yes.
shaky
is that
things are.
we just need strong institution, not strong
Yes,
personality. So
yes.
if everybody is coming to do what they're instituted to do, trust me, we'll get it right from this
Yes,
part
and
of the
if at the state and local levels, they are enforcing laws like the Kaduna State governor has done, it will be easier for the presidency to, enforce the general laws, because he cannot do everything. So most of the time we see an issue where there is supposed to be division of labor, which is why we have the state and local government, at those levels. But most of the time, it's not like that.
Yes.
So most of the time, these different sections, or should I say segments, are relaxed, and leaving the entire burden to fall on the federal government.
It's just
so
like,
it shouldn't be so.
Yeah, it's just like the president saying there should be lockdown in Lagos, Abuja, Ogun, and then Ogun State now decide to start opening up their schools.
Yes.
That's like a breach of what the president has said, and that's not making it any easier for the president to handle the situation on ground.
Yeah, right.
Okay, another story you brought up that I really love is that, like you said, even Messenger was actually talking about that even with the pandemic, we're still making some gains.
Progress,
the Forex you talked about.
Yes.
Forex, a lot of modalities, coming up here and there. The comparison with naira to dollar, even in the black market, in the Forex is a good thing. And I think that we can take it up from here and see how far this goes. But for the pandemic, we wouldn't have seen this. The narrative is kind of changing.
Yeah, true.
In the business world.
Yeah.
And I think we have to flow in this
that
direction so that we can see where this takes us.
Okay, particularly from Benue State. Seeming to be waking up to the reality now, advising political and
leaders to stay off
criminal
groups.
It tends to, one begins to imagine how with all the necessary provision of security apparatus and everything, but these criminal elements still tend to get away with so many of the activities. That is to tell you that there's an insider arrangement in there. So if the government is actually coming
out to see this, it means that
they know why there's more to
suspicion. Read the state of criminal activities to a large extent.
Yes. These people are not resting. So we will not rest on our ours. We need to be 24/7. Everybody, all hands need to be on deck when it comes to the issue of insecurity in this country, because we would have to, earlier on we were saying that a lot of criminal activities have been halted, there are no more, but these people were actually just waiting, and now we can hear, even in Yobe State, Dapchi has been attacked once again, and it's really
still
sad.
Talking about insecurity, as well. That can actually still be going on, despite we are facing something as serious as coronavirus.
We need to look at this headlong, and then, follow it and pursue it, like you're saying, bumper to bumper.
Thank you,
Thank you very much. We now move we will now move across Africa to get some more news. Stay with us.
This is News Across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic and growing tensions in the country, Burundi will on Wednesday hold general elections. The small African country of the Great Lakes region and its 11 million inhabitants are trying to emerge from a deadly political crisis born of President Nkurunziza's controversial candidacy for a third term in April 2015. Unlike Ethiopia, which postponed its August election because of the COVID-19, Burundi has decided to maintain them at odd costs, like Mali, Benin, and Malawi. Burundi, which the government claimed was protected by divine grace, has so far officially recorded 42 positive cases, including one death. But authorities are accused by doctors and the opposition of hiding COVID-19 cases, attributing them to other diseases such as pneumonia. Burundi has not imposed the confinement of the population, unlike neighboring Rwanda, and the election campaign mobilized large crowds with a few buckets of water and soap as a preventive measure. The government had, without explanation, ordered the expulsion of 4 men World Health Organization experts advising it on the epidemic, who left the country on Saturday. The country, which could face a major health crisis, is preparing to turn the page on Nkurunziza, whose last years in power were marked by massive human rights violations that left at least 1,200 people dead, according to a UN report released in 2017, and pushed some 400,000 people into exile at the height of the crisis. Lesotho's Prime Minister Thomas Tabane has resigned. He did not say when he would leave office, but his party said a new premier will be sworn in on Tuesday, with whom he was living at the time of the murder was charged in connection with the killing in February. The pair have denied any involvement. I have decided to personally come and inform you that I am stepping down as Prime Minister of Lesotho, AFP news agency says he told his supporters in his Abia Homes constituency on the outskirts of the capital, Maseru. Lesotho has been plagued by political instability this year. He lost his majority in parliament last week when the coalition backing him fell apart, and a government is expected to be installed on Friday. A TV channel in the UK owned by one of Nigeria's most flamboyant evangelical pastors has been sanctioned by Ofcom, the broadcasting authority in London. The authority punished Chris Oyakhilom's Love Word Limited, which runs the Love Word channel that can be viewed in the UK, after a news program and a live sermon included potentially harmful claims about causes of and treatment for COVID-19. Pastor Oyakhilome has linked the virus to 5G networks and alleged that it was part of a plot to create a new world order. Such views have been widely condemned by scientists who say the idea of a connection between COVID-19 and 5G is completely rubbish and biologically impossible. Ofcom said that the program Love Word News included unsubstantiated claims that 5G was the cause of the pandemic and that this was the subject of a global cover-up. Ofcom also criticized a sermon that was broadcast that questioned the motives of those looking for a vaccine. The UK authorities said it was not against controversial views, but this had to be put into context and not undermine trust in the health authorities. Flooding in Somalia has affected nearly 1 million people, with more than 400,000 forced from their homes, the United Nations says. The UN's Office for Humanitarian Affairs also says that 24 people have died. It adds that there is a high risk of disease spreading as people crowd together in temporary shelters. The worst hit place was Beledweyne, 85% of which was inundated after the Shabelle River burst its banks last week. The flooding here has affected the entire city. People are very worried about their safety, resident Emmy told newsmen. The government forces are helping some people, but those who are too weak or old need more help because they cannot wade through these flooded streets because water is moving too fast. Reports from the oil-rich northern Mozambique province of Cabo Delgado say Islamic insurgents have attacked the village of Miangalewa, killing 10 people. The independent Mozambique electronic paper Catamol says The latest attack took place on Saturday after the militants attacked the same village a week ago. Mkatamo cites different sources as saying that the latest attack against Miangelewa occurred early on Saturday morning. But it says that unlike the previous attack, the jihadis did not shoot in the air to indicate their arrival. This paved the way for them to surprise many villagers. This made the militant, locally known as Al-Shabaab, were able to kill 7 people as they arrived in the village. Then the attackers searched for villagers who had fled and killed 3 more. According to the same sources, there was no response from the security forces. The group has no known links to the Somali jihadist group of the same name. The attack occurred 2 days after Interior Minister Amade Mikwadade announced that the army had killed 50 militants in Cabo Delgado. The militants have spent the past 2 years operating in the shadows, attacking remote villages across the province, ambushing army patrols on isolated roads, and instilling terror in many rural communities. The Islamic State group has said it is connected to the Mozambican militants, but it is not clear if this is the case. Now that is the mod we have for you on News Across Africa. Daybreak Africa will continue shortly with Mercy and Elvis.
That was Across Africa with some interesting news coming from the mother African continent. When I move over to the newspaper review segment, where we have Victor Temba, who will be joining us this morning as usual.
As usual.
Good morning, Victor. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yes,
It's always a
pleasure to be here as well.
Yes, it's always a pleasure.
I love the way you always dissect the issues that we have on the front pages of the national dailies.
Okay, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The headline here, why Africa is least affected by deaths from COVID-19. Below that, findings suggest world malaria endemic region fare better. Health experts stress effects of diet, climatic, social factors. Beside that, Buhari extends easing of lockdown by 2 weeks.
Absolutely. So when you're looking from the major headline, I think this is not news. These factors listed are some of the very factors that were listed at the beginning of this pandemic, even when it came to Africa. And you know, just a time where there were worries that how come we are not reporting high cases of COVID-19 in Africa, but then they were also attributing to the fact that our climate might also be worrying. And then there was also this study to understand that this coronavirus has similar symptoms, operates just like malaria. And in countries where you have more, you have cases of high cases of malaria, they tend to fare better because already we are used to taking malaria drugs, and so they are already there in the system somehow. So, yes, a bit prepared. And then when you look at even this man from EIT,
Raymond
he said they were giving malaria drugs. So it's more like they were treating malaria than COVID-19. And that's a question: what is the relationship between malaria and COVID-19? So it just goes to say that yes, our diet, our climatic factors, and to the fact that we're already used to taking malaria drugs might actually be a reason why we don't report so much. Even at that, we still get scared with the kind of numbers that we get to hear from some African countries. I know Nigeria, we are actually heading towards the 200 marks, which is quite scary as well. 200 people. And then the president coming out to continue the ease of lockdown for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. Yes, I think that is basically less than commendable. We haven't really achieved much progress in the fight against the COVID-19. So easing the lockdown, it's fine, and I think also the president understands that we cannot afford a total lockdown at this point in time.
Okay, that's quite out. Now let's take a look at headlines. So we have from the Nation newspaper. The banner headline here says, interstate travel ban, curfew to continue for 2 weeks. Nation not right for end of lockdown, says Buhari. Schools, worship centers, airports to remain shut. And below the picture story, we have CBN, NNPC to spend 1 billion naira on returnees quarantine. 1
billion naira on returnees quarantine. Exactly, we don't know, but that's a huge sum of money. Yeah, maybe we just have to wait for the government to give us more different data on that, like how many people are they taking care of, and how many
the
centers,
cost of feeding,
and how much are you, the cost of feeding each person for the what
cost
else
of
I've said, because
the accommodation.
Yeah, because one billion naira for Britannies, that's a whole lot of money,
especially at a time
like
especially
this.
at a time like this. And then we go, and also the president saying that we are not ripe for a lifting of the lockdown. I think that is also apt from the president. We still need to battle with this thing going forward. Then for the fact that churches, monks are also going to remain closed, I think for schools, for example, we cannot keep them shut for too long. I think at this point in time, we should be looking at other ways. This is moving away from the online learning that people are actually
totally moving away from it.
There should be other ways. Just as you have given less concession to businesses and whatever, you also give sort of concession to schools as well. And at a point like this, we know that schools that are very populated are government schools, so it means government will basically have a responsibility of creating more spaces. You go to government school and you find like 100 people in one class, about 50 people in one class. This is just excessive. So I think that they could give concession and then make less and provisions for these schools to resume. You can't really keep these people at home for too long.
Yeah.
In schools, they could observe all the basic less than personal health hygiene, observe the less than precautionary measures, come with your face mask, hand sanitizer, make sure you wash your hands. And in fact, at schools, I think it's even going to be very effective, and it's going to imbibe this culture of personal hygiene in the student, because I believe if you give it to the teachers as a task, they will keep on reminding the student at intervals to wash your hands, and then they might actually get used to that, and it will help them in the long run, even after this whole pandemic. So I think for schools, they now need to rethink a way around it instead of keeping it permanently shut. It has already altered the schools in calendar already, and so people are being delayed. Those that were supposed to write WAEC are going to be at home for now. Those who were about to write their final exams in the universities are also being put on hold. So they need to find a way around that, the same way they have found a way around businesses.
Just like we see a light being shed on other aspects in Nigeria that COVID-19 has brought out. We pray and hope to see that light being shined towards education in the country, mostly the government schools and colleges.
Which have actually been crying for intervention.
Because it seems like coronavirus has a way of putting light where there was darkness.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The headlines: Lagos, Kano, Borno accounts for 52% COVID-19 deaths. That's from the federal government. Below that, government plans lockdown in states, local governments with increasing cases. Nigeria not ready for full reopening of economy. That's coming from the PTF. CBN, NNPC allocate 1 billion naira for isolation feeding returnees. We just spoke about that now.
And they're also looking at the fact that Lagos, Kano, and Borno are accounting for
52% COVID-19.
Yes, definitely. For Lagos, it to be understandable for the fact that they have the highest number of cases.
Yes.
It's also rational that they will have a high number of deaths as well. For Kano, the cases blew at once, and then they were not prepared, and then the slow response and all of that, and then the guesswork at the beginning of the whole thing would have contributed. When you look at the fact Kano State and perhaps Borno State are the only places you find that their death ratio is higher than less on recovery. So maybe in Kano you're having about six recovery, but already they're looking at about 57 deaths or thereabouts. I can't really remember.
Lots of pending issues from Kano, even the mysterious death till now.
And then we also look at the fact that Abuja, which happens to be like the third highest state, the state with the third highest number of cases. Yeah, and then did not fall into this category.
They don't fall into this category.
Yeah, so it means that there has been some sort of very tedious work
being done in the FCT.
Really contain this thing.
Okay, I still have this headline: Federal government quarantines British aircraft pilots to apply full sanctions.
Oh yeah, that is related to the one we talked about yesterday, the Flare Aviation that were operating commercially under the guise of humanitarian services
and going commercial traveling. They should well done. They're doing well.
Okay, now from this day newspaper, the banner headline we have from there says Buhari extends nationwide curfew, Kano lockdown by 2 weeks, urges governors to work with task force, 216 fresh cases, move tally rather to 6,175 with 1,644 discharged and 191 dead. Mortality rates drop in Kano, Sokoto. NAFDAC approves 15 of 40 applications for rapid testing kits. CBN NNPC to fund accommodation, feeding of evacuees. First vaccine tested in the US shows promise.
First vaccine testing in the US shows promise, and I think that also takes me back to the one that was done in Oxford University. We need to also know, but we still don't know.
We still don't know the fate,
exact outcome of that, whether it was promising as they're saying here or
we've been hearing promising,
not, basically. And then also looking at the fact that our cases have hit 6,000. Honestly, if I must say, I never expected this. I never thought we were even going to hit the 1,000 mark at any point in time. I basically thought that when the case actually started, it seems like we were handling it very well. We were very prompt in identifying the Italian man, tracing contact. So at the point where this curve was flattened at that point. So I didn't really envision that we were going to get up to this 1,000, but now we are 6,000, and from the way we get to these internal figures every day, about 201 or something, I wouldn't want to see us get to this 10,000.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that immediately the first case was discovered as the Italian man, and I think probably the next day there was a total lockdown in the nation, do you think the cases in Nigeria would be up to 6,000 now?
No. Maybe it might have gone away, but at the time they discovered the Italian man, the damage had already been done.
Yes, because we don't know how many more had already entered the country.
Because basically this thing came into the country on the 25th, and that case was discovered late 27th. And already he has traveled from Lagos to he has met people has met other people, and already at that time we were already at least, though maybe it would have really helped a bit. I think the best way to have actually started it and keep a minimal figure of this thing was initially, even before we recorded any case, you don't need to close borders, you don't need to close the airports, but then stringent measures that somebody coming in from the country from other places
that go to 14 days isolation,
because I'm sure even that very day that they confirmed he was positive, people were still coming into the country from other countries.
I know, of course, it took time before these borders were closed, and then you find that more of the cases that later we had to record with people coming either from the US, UK or Italy, that is Nigerians coming back from those
countries.
Yeah, not like they even got the virus here in Nigeria, so it's like they imported it and then distributed.
Well, because of time, let's take a look at the Daily Sun newspaper. Quite an interesting headline here. Okonjo Iweala in Didi, others make list of 100 African leading women. So, we applaud our women. I saw that and I was really excited about that.
Definitely. You can't talk about you can't talk about like 100 influential or 100 powerful women in Africa and then miss out a name like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Her profile alone is basically intimidating from what she has done so far.
Yes.
Right now, sometimes I even get to ask myself that how does she even handle her schedule, because because basically she has an appointment with the World Bank, she has an appointment with the African government, she has an appointment somewhere in Rwanda where she has an appointment. She's also on the board of directors of Twitter. She's just basically everywhere.
She's everywhere, like MTN.
She's just basically everywhere. So we talk about that, and then it's also very nice that our women are actually stepping up to the plate.
Yes. So we're saying things that make us smile amid coronavirus. That's a good thing. Women, we're doing something.
Okay, from Daily Times, we have federal government extend first phase eased lockdown by 2 weeks. Says despite efforts made so far, Nigeria not yet ripe to fully reopen economy. Identifies 9 densely populated local government areas with high number of COVID-19 cases to engage in aggressive scaling up of community participation. Below the picture story, we have federal government rakes 338.94 billion naira from VAT in first quarter of 2020. And then from Oyo State, COVID-19, why Oyo can't relax ban on religious gathering for now. That is coming from the governor himself, Sheikh Makinde.
So, government making about 300 something, about, so what's the figure again?
338.94 billion naira.
On value added tax alone in the first quarter of that's actually commendable. And you know, this is what we're talking about, that had it not been for this COVID-19, we wouldn't have issues with our budget, because that was one of the lesson mechanism that the government was hoping to generate revenue and fund the budget. And then look at in the first quarter of 2020 already, we're already making about 338 billion naira already. So imagine if you keep up with this, how much would have made? Would have made up to trillions from the VAT alone. But now that was just for the first quarter.
Yes.
And for this second quarter, I'm sure it's not going to be that much. But then I'll be very interested. I'll be keeping an eye to see the figure.
Yeah, so you update us.
Definitely.
Because of time, let's quickly look at the Daily Trust newspaper. Below the picture headline, why we are yet to tackle APC crisis. This is coming from Akande panel.
Yes. Perhaps definitely the reason would be COVID-19.
COVID-19.
We can't travel.
That would be the major reason. Yeah. Well, that's how much we can take today on the newspaper review. Victor Temba, it's been a pleasure having you with us. I got it right.
Yeah.
Pleasure, not pleasant. So hope to see you again, Victor.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go to the health desk and see causes of stomach ulcer. Yes, we'd like to see.
Yeah, true.
Another episode of Healthy Living. Today we'll be talking on stomach ulcer. Ulcers are sores that are slow to heal or keep returning. They can take many forms and can appear both on the inside and the outside of the body. They can be found on places of your body you can see, such as a leg ulcer found on the skin, or in places you can see, such as a peptic ulcer in the lining of your stomach or upper intestine. From your eye to your foot, you can get them just about anywhere on your body. Injuries, diseases, and infections can cause them. What they look like depends on where you have them and how you got them. While some go away on their own, others cause serious problems if you don't treat them. Stomach ulcers are known as gastric ulcers. They are painful sores in the stomach lining. Stomach ulcers occur when the thick layer of mucus that protects your stomach from digestive juices is reduced. This allows the digestive acid to eat away at the tissues that line the stomach, causing an ulcer. Stomach ulcers may be easily cured, but they can become severe without proper treatment. The most common symptom is a burning sensation or pain in the middle of your abdomen, between your chest and belly button. Typically, the pain will become more intense when your stomach is empty, and it can last for a few minutes to several hours. Dull pain in the stomach, weight loss, not wanting to eat because of pain, vomiting, heartburn, which is a burning sensation in the chest, vomit that's bloody or looks like coffee grounds. Talk to your doctor if you have any symptoms of a stomach ulcer. Even though discomfort may be mild, ulcers can worsen if they are not treated. Bleeding ulcers can become life-threatening. Treating stomach ulcers depending on the cause of your ulcer. Most ulcers can be treated with a prescription from your doctor, but in rare cases, surgery may be required. It is important to promptly treat an ulcer. Talk to your doctor to discuss a treatment plan. If you have an actively bleeding ulcer, you will likely be hospitalized for intensive treatment with endoscopy and IV ulcer medications. You may also require a blood transfusion. To prevent the spread of bacteria that might cause a stomach ulcer, wash your hands with soap and water on a regular basis. Also, be sure to properly clean all your food and to cook it thoroughly as needed. Eat more banana, garlic, soaking unripe plantain, foods like yogurt, milk, fiber-rich foods like apple, pears, oatmeal, and other foods that are high in fiber are good for ulcer in two ways. Fiber can lower the amount of acid in your stomach while easing bloating and pain. Research has also shown that a diet rich in fiber may also prevent ulcers. Eat more of sweet potato. It is high in vitamin A, and there is evidence that this nutrient can help shrink stomach ulcers and may also play a role in preventing them. Other foods with a good dose of vitamin include spinach, carrots, and beef liver. Avoid spicy food, coffee, and alcohol. If you are prone to ulcer or you have one now, it is best to limit alcohol or avoid it altogether. Avoid chocolate. Chocolate has lots of potential health benefits, but it often causes discomfort for some people who have ulcers. If eating chocolate makes you feel worse, wait to indulge until your ulcer has healed. That's the much you have for you on Healthy Living today. Prevention, they say, is better than a cure. Visit your doctor if you experience persistent symptoms of an ulcer. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back from our head desk, where we took a look at
the causes of stomach ulcer.
That is one serious ailment that people have been dealing with, as serious as it is and as simple as it sounds.
As serious as it is, and as simple as it sounds.
Because it has been so common that people don't really know how serious it is.
Yeah.
But it has to do with your abdomen, where if not being attended to, it could result to something very, very fatal.
Yes, I saw on the tissues inside of it. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Okay.
This is the much we can take today on Daybreak Africa. In case you're just joining us, unfortunately we have to go now, but we'll be back tomorrow.
Same time.
Same place.
So if you missed the opportunity of catching up with the show today, please, let's do this again tomorrow.
My name is Mercy Joe.
And my name is Elvis Oga. As we sign out with a trip, or Amazing Africa rather, than bomb sniffing rats in Africa. I was just asking the producer, so there are rats that sniff bombs. I only know about dogs.
Go and see that. Stay safe.
All right.
Welcome to Mozambique.
I'm Alberto Augusto, the director of the National Demining Institute, Maputo, Mozambique. Well, Mozambique was colonized by Portugal, so we had to fight to become independent.
Later on, Mozambique had this civil war which started in 1976.
So during a fight, we use every kind of ammunition, including landmines.
Mines were laid at schools, villages, military barracks, bridge abutments, and other infrastructures. The development of the country after the war was really slow.
After the war, in 1992, we started the mining program in Mozambique.
The work was very tough, was very slow, very painful, working in a very hot environment. And then I was interested in actually learning a new technology, which is mine detection rats. I grew up in rural areas, I grew up in poor areas. I know the rat is something that everyone are hunting to kill it, because we have this thinking that the rat is useless, it's only creating problems. But now here in Mozambique, the rat can do something useful to save people's lives.
My name is Alberto Zacarias. I'm the mine detection rats supervisor. Since our rats are taught from the beginning to detect the smell of explosive. So when they find an explosive, they give us a cues, and such behaviors are turning around, sniffing around, then scratch.
And the good thing about using the rats is that the rats are more quick, precise, and also cost-effective. The rats are really amazing creatures. Instead of staying 3-4 days to clear like 100 square meters, I could do it in 20 minutes, and that makes a huge difference. Every morning when I come to work, I look at their faces, I see when they're serious, I see when they want to play, and I see how amazing they are when they manage to get explosive. You put them in the cage, back to the home, you see them relaxing, and that's amazing because it's like we do. We get our boots off and then lie under a shade. The rats have become man's best friend.
So Mozambique was totally destroyed. But when we started to do our demining activities, we